It's a brand new week right here on Channels Television, I'm sure where you are as well. Welcome to the program. I'm Jeffrey Ozoma, and this is a morning brief.
Except you're in a time zone where Monday began maybe 6 hours plus ago. But this is Lagos, the commercial nerve center of Nigeria, and we're up bright and early. Good morning. I'm Kayode Okikule.
What's been going on where you are?
Quite a weekend. I wanted to actually list my top stories or top issues for the weekend. And I think one of the issues that left sort of sour taste in the mouth is the arrest of the journalist in Lagos by DSS, who was eventually released and his passport seized. And it just raised questions about, is journalism under attack? And I think now is a very important time, because when you have someone like Adejuwon Soyinka, the editor of The Conversation Africa, being arrested, detained, and then eventually released, his passport seized. And for those who are conversant with social media, someone who's been described as a whistleblower, PIDM, as well, being detained for varying issues. It's obviously a big conversation we need to have yet again. Right here on Channels Television, we've always shone the spotlight on issues that concern press freedom. I mean, our work is enshrined in the Constitution, and that is very rare. Other people cannot boast of that, Jeffrey. Yes, we're being magnanimous and being humble here, but our work is enshrined in the Constitution. So when you have these issues, there are several truths that we know can exist. Yes, there may have been things said or done. I'm not saying in this case that the police might need to investigate. Absolutely, the police should do their job within the ambit of the law, but you have to recognize that journalism is protected. Our work is vital to the success or otherwise of a democracy. And that's also a truth that needs to exist. So we also need to ensure that we protect all of these truths and ensure that one does not harm the other. No one should be unduly targeted just because they break a story, right? Just because they're doing their jobs. Again, if something has been done wrong, it should absolutely be investigated, but not killing that work, or at least infringing on the rights of that journalist. So, Jeffrey, that for me was one of the biggest ones. The other one, I'll talk about this when you respond to this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm very big on freedom of expression, because that is the pillar, one of the strongest pillars of democracy. As long as freedom is threatened in any shape or form, for whatever reason, it becomes a threat to democracy in its entirety. Section 22, I've always said that. For those who don't maybe look at the Constitution, this is a good time to look at it. Section 22 of the Constitution says that we as journalists must hold the people in power to account at all times. The framers, I must thank the framers of the Constitution at all times. So as you've said, if these gentlemen have done anything untoward, of course, the law must take its course. But if they are simply doing their job, then the optics is really, really bad. For PIDM, for instance, we understand that, in fact, somebody had to raise alarm, like, where is he? Is he missing? Is he being killed? What is going on with him? Until it took the police days, because according to their statement, if I read it correctly, they arrested him on the 5th. We only got to hear about it on the 20-something. So why did it take that long for it to come out? So if these people have done anything wrong in the line of duty, I think the Constitution is very clear on how to arrest and then arraign, not the type we see happening in our country. So for the records, government, the optics for our country is very bad. I don't know what the government looks at as good optics. Yes, some gains have been recorded in some aspect, but when it comes to the economy, our optics is not good. Our ease of doing business, going on what is happening with Dangote and the rest, with what we've seen with the China company and Ogun State government, that federal government has to get involved. If you now add the issue of lack of press freedom to the already bad optics, you're not doing yourself any good. So we have to do our job. Our job is quite simple: to hold the powerful to account, because it's only human nature that you always look good in your own eyes. Somebody has to tell you you're not that great. As far as a person has evidence and facts to support what he's saying, he's doing his job at the end of the day. So if this gentleman or more gentlemen or ladies have done their job not rightly, then they should be arrested and prosecuted. If not, why?
And I think it's as straightforward as that. So we need to ensure. It reminds us what happened with Daniel Ojukwu some months ago. 9 days, I think, in detention. Police said he had a case to answer. We wonder what has become of that case now. And from time to time, he's always said, well, take us to court, charge us to court. That is where we expect that all of these things will happen. And this is not even talk about what is going on within the courts at this point. But the point we're trying to make is we all need to ensure that we do right by our nation, by the institutions, because it's what we put in that we get. Garbage in, garbage out. If we put the great things in, great work, the right mentality in, then I tell you, Nigeria will be unstoppable. Jeffrey, quickly, the other one was the resignation of the NIA. We're big on it on trends this morning. It's like... it's very unusual.
It's a rare sight.
It's a rarity in this part of the world. But we'll get to that. But Jeffrey, that really caught my attention over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw, before I even saw it trending, I saw the video. And the gentleman that was interviewing him was like, this is
unusual.
So what's going on here? But he didn't divulge anything that we could hold on to besides personal issues and all of that. And the president's response, he said, Lord, the president has the right to say how he responded, but he has some personal things. So that's the best we got from that particular excerpt. But it will be quite important to know exactly how and why he chose to resign at this particular point in time. You also brought my attention to the issue of the NSAS protesters that we understand were released. Right. 4 of them. And this is, I remember when Senator Shehu Sani, who I've had the opportunity to interview a couple of times, had said that the NSAS protesters, I remember during Democracy Day something. He had mentioned, look, that some NSAS protesters are still in custody, and the police denied. So how did these 4 or 5 gentlemen come out? Where did they come out from? That's how the police IGP came and said, police did not kill anyone. We said, okay, no problem. Police didn't kill anyone. You promised that they'll be wearing body cam. That's the only evidence we have. But people died.
Jeffrey.
So we have a lot of questions to ask. So
that body cam.
We're only doing our job. So if the IGP, the day we have to sit down with the IGP, he has to explain to us what happened to those body cams. We don't want to know what, because in let me say, in other climes, let me not say Senate climb, because we're saying here, in other climes, when things like this happen, that there's a back and forth in questioning and interrogation, the police will bring body cam. Yeah. Because it's recorded. So I don't know. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about on the program today, but let's begin with the very first one that has to do with this controversy around the student loan disbursement. The disbursement of the much anticipated students' loan should ordinarily be an exciting development for the country. However, it's now being meshed in controversy. Those who believe the scheme favors a section of the country. But NELFUND, the administrators, have refuted that claim, saying the disbursement is strictly based on institutions who have completed its verification process. We'll explore that further and throw you a few slides as far as that is concerned right here on the program.
And these are some issues that tend to want to divide people across the usual lines, ethnicity, politics, and the rest. And that dovetails into our other big conversation for the day. Our country, Nigeria, as we know, is made up of hundreds of ethnic nationalities located in a geographical expression called Nigeria. But since amalgamation, well, history buffs will know that, 1904 and independence, 1960, it's been a long journey to nationhood, particularly now with the current generation. Young people, the aftermath of the election, there's been lots of division. Lagos has been a center state and in other parts of the country. So this morning, we ask, where do we begin from in 2024? So join the conversation today.
Well, we will wrap up the show away from all of that serious talk, of course, with showbiz. A creative who finds expression through content creation, keeping you glued to your mobile devices with his style of storytelling. And he commands quite a massive followership on social media. Sydney Sid Iwundu will be our guest. You don't want to miss that segment right here on the program. So be ready.
You don't want to miss any part of the show. So this is what you do. Head over to X right now, hashtag CTV Morning Brief. That's how you can reach us. The fastest way is like we're on speed dial on that one. Guess what? We have WhatsApp as well. Yeah, so you can just head over to WhatsApp right now. Let us know what you think about some of the big stories we'll talk about, the big conversations, and of course the trending stories. That is the WhatsApp number with which you can reach Jeffrey and I this morning, sending your videos. If you've got videos about the fuel scarcity situation, is it easing where you're at? How is the traffic like this Monday morning? Let us know. Monday means business, so let's do that business together with you.
Absolutely. So bring it down. We amplify your voice. It's a community show. It's your breakfast show. But first, we'll bring you your top stories. Afterwards, we'll get to the very first conversation for the day. Join us again. Top on the brief this morning is a renewed commitment to the separation of powers and the rule of law by President Bola Tinubu in order to enshrine the ideal of democracy. The president gave the commitment at this year's annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Lagos as he explains how government is at the vanguard of repositioning the judiciary with better welfare, among others. The president, represented by his vice, Senator Kashim Shettima, says government is determined to address this nation's developmental challenges, deploying necessary reforms.
I commend the association for this patriotic commitment to national rebirth and growth. Last year, the conference dwelled on the theme, Getting It Right, charting the course for Nigeria's nation building. This year, you have settled for another fascinating theme, pressing forward, a national posture for rebuilding Nigeria. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, while I acknowledge the temporal existence of some daunting challenges besetting us as a nation, I want to assure you that this government is poised to address all the developmental challenges facing this country, and be rest assured that in the fullness of time, this nation shall overcome.
Still there, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has drawn a nexus between insecurity and development for meaningful societal advancement. She, however, decries what she describes as a penchant of the political class to politicize and weaponize the issue of national security and even insecurity for personal and selfish gain. Dr. Iweala, who was also speaking on a range of national issues as keynote speaker at that NBA conference, frowns at the stealing of national assets by those bent on perpetually pilfering and sabotaging Nigeria's commonwealth, a position and disposition, she says, must be stopped. That event had in attendance the Attorney General of the Federation, state governors, heads of government agencies, and legal luminaries.
All political parties and politicians, all Nigerians must agree that these elements we identify and others to be added as forming the social contract must be respected by all who govern, no matter their politics, for the good of those they govern. You, the NBA, the biggest gathering of lawyers in the world, the largest, most influential civil society organization in Nigeria, you bear a heavy responsibility to advocate for and ensure that this social contract comes about. My question to you is, are you ready?
Well, on their part, Governors Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State and his Plateau State counterpart Caleb Moftuang are seeking all hands to be on deck to fulfill government's social contract, which they commit to. In their separate remarks, both leaders at the subnational level believe a lot has to be done to bring development, including electoral reforms, government accountability, and civic responsibility, including paying taxes.
We want every state in the country to be ready. We want every tribe in the nation to be ready. We want every profession in the nation to be ready. We want every man, woman, young or old to be ready. Because it's only when all of us are ready that Nigeria is ready. It's only when all of us are ready that what Auntie Ngozi had said to us this evening becomes a social contract that indeed we can truly, really take home.
In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police has received the rescued, kidnapped medical students who were abducted in Benue State on August the 15th on their way to Enugu for a medical conference, but were rescued on the August the 22nd. The IGP says the 27 victims were rescued without paying any form of ransom, explaining how 20 students are from the University of Jos and the University of Maiduguri, while the other 7 are innocent Nigerians previously kidnapped by the bandits. According to the police boss, the rescue operation was made possible with the support of the National Security Advisor, other security agencies, and local vigilantes.
Our commitment to rid our nation of criminal elements who seek to disrupt the peace and security of our society. The Nigerian Police Force will continue to employ every lawful means at its disposal to protect the lives and property of all Nigerians. My message to those who are still in captivity and to their family members is that they should not lose hope.
Meanwhile, 2 police officers have been killed and 3 others are unconscious following a clash between the police operatives and members of the proscribed Islamic movement of Nigeria, popularly known as Shiites, in Abuja yesterday. The spokesperson for the FCT command, Josephine Ade, describes the attack as unprovoked while accusing the group of destroying 3 police patrol vehicles. According to Ade, the Shiite members attacked some personnel of the Nigerian police force attached to the FCT command at Wuse Junction by the traffic light. Let's get to other stories where the Department of State Services, DSS, has freed a journalist, Adejuwon Soyinka, hours after he was picked up at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport here in Lagos. The reason for Soyinka's arrest early on Sunday was unknown, as DSS spokesperson Peter Funaya had not responded to inquiries by one of our correspondents. However, a source close to the former BBC Pidgin editor confirmed his release to one of our correspondents. It is reported that the secret police seized Soyinka's travel passport as well. Mr. Soyinka, the regional editor of The Conversation Africa, was arrested around 5 a.m. upon arrival at the Lagos airport from the United Kingdom. Let's now talk business, where the federal government plans to provide 3 billion naira in support of states in an effort to mitigate the impact of the recent flood disaster. The Minister of Finance and Coordinated Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, disclosed this while speaking with journalists at the Government House in Benin, Kebbi on Sunday after inspecting the flood-affected areas in Kebbi State. Mr. Edun believes the funds will put states in good position to prepare their farmers to the all-important dry season farming, which it anticipates will be successful if well planned and implemented. Let's get out to the international scene in what can be described as a major escalation. Israel says it has carried out a wave of preemptive strikes across southern Lebanon to mitigate a large-scale rocket and drone attack by Hezbollah. The Israel military said fighter jets destroyed thousands of Iran-backed armed groups' rocket launchers on Sunday. Hezbollah and his allies, the Amal movement, confirmed that 3 fighters were killed. Hezbollah said it managed to fire 320 rockets and drones at Israel in retaliation for the assassination of a senior commander, while Israel's military said an Israeli Navy soldier was killed. Let's go to the world of sports. The Paralympic touch relay for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games celebrated its first day in France on Sunday. After passing from Great Britain to France via the Channel Tunnel at midday, it multiplied into 12 flames that shone around the country. The Paralympic touch stepped on French soil around noon, heralding the imminent return of the Games to France. And those are the stories we've been tracking for you, say, in the last 24 hours. Form part of our conversation for the rest of the day. Kaide joins me now to bring you up to speed with the things we've been tracking on social media, especially our social media of choice, that is X.
X, absolutely. Jeffrey, I just hope quickly that as the torch multiplied, our lack of medals will multiply. Even though if you multiply 0 by anything, you still get 0. But I'm hoping that for the Paralympics, we get multiples.
They made us, they've been making us proud, and which is why some of us are advocating for more funds for them. They had 3 billion. The Olympians had 9 billion. So we hope that they are going to come back with medals, unlike the medal-less return of our Olympians. But well, it's sports. Let's see how it plays out.
Let us see how it plays out. But in politics, we all know how things play out. There's a certain approach or mentality when it comes to holding offices in this part of the world. People don't resign. People don't step down.
Even when they should resign.
Even when they should resign.
Yes.
But there's a man who has broken that, what I call a jinx of sorts, and that is now the DG, or former DG of NIA, who tendered his resignation to President Bola.
NIA being our intelligence agency.
Oh yes, NIA. So it's like the CIA.
Our own CIA.
NIA, right. Okay, so what are you saying about that? I'll start off with this comment from Osage Adams, and I think this just re-echoes what a lot of Nigerians had to say about this. So this user says, interesting. it's rare to witness or hear such words as resignation in Nigerian politics. Yeah. Get used to it, maybe.
Get used to it somehow. So maybe if we get the next one, so that I can jump in on this particular one, because it's quite commendable to see this happen. It's a very, as we said, it's a very rare sight at the end of the day when we see public officials resigning. Although we will say that when they were interviewing him, it wasn't quite clear as to why he was resigning. But it's commendable for whatever reason for him to say, I'm not doing it again. Yeah. Skadi, I'm sure you have
the next one is from NR_Marja. It says, the DG NIA is a very sensitive position. Nigerians have the right to know why he tendered his resignation. So he gave some reason, personal. In fact, he couched in a different way. Say, well, it could be for personal reasons, for this reason and all, but he didn't say anything. It
was quite smart with his answer. If we can have the next one, so we can move as quickly as possible on this particular one. As far as they say, first government official to resign willingly under Tinubu regime. Though it's very strange, but until the truth of him in resigning is out, we'll know if he deserves kudos. Oh, kudos. I don't know what that means.
Okay, so kudos or kudus, Jeffrey. So on social media, kudos is well done.
Okay.
Kudus, the Ghanaian player.
Oh, really?
Let's move on.
We learn every day.
I don't want to start Ghana-Nigeria war this morning.
All.
But this one is from Monday Johnson. It says that now a lot of questions will definitely be asked, which no one will be willing to explain to the ordinary man out there. What exactly has gone wrong?
Well, so let's go to the next one. Let's go to the very next one. As far as this particular one is concerned, when we have to talk about the issue of this resignation on the... Yeah. So if we can get the next one. All right. I think we're having a bit of an issue here. So which one is the next one? Say, first, the public officer. Okay, let's go to that. 2 police officers killed, 3 unconscious as soldiers attack Shiites. Oh, is it soldiers now? As 3 unconscious as Shiites attack Abuja, I should say. Not soldiers, I beg your pardon. So, the mandate said the killing of police officers on duty is totally unacceptable. The individuals responsible should be brought to justice. We can also go to the very next one on that one. Altruist 001 said, this is heartbreaking. Condolences to the families of the officers. That's quite sad to see we losing our officers in this regard. Omobolanle Sal 10 says, may God rest their souls. So those are the ones we've been tracking. I told you in the news that the police had an engagement with Shiites, and that is what played out. Unfortunately, 2 police officers lost their lives in the process. But let's move on to another story. The Anambra government banning all social events, wedding and shows, entertainment on public school premises. So this is the latest coming from Anambra State, where perhaps, I don't know, maybe they are trying to manage the facilities to avoid defacing those facilities.
Well, I think that school premises should be school premises, except you're doing a town hall, maybe for a local government, which is something we'll get into. I think that schools should just remain educational environment. So Anambra State government doing this, well, Benjamin Daniel has the first one saying, I love this man so much. So who are you referring to? Is that the governor of Anambra State? Is that who? Well, goes on to say, he's right, please. School is for learning, not social events. How I wish all governors can do this. So obviously it was referring to the governor of Anambra State, this user here.
All right, one pocket says, well, probably to maintain the school facility, but they can still ensure people use it properly and maintain it while also generating money from those social activities to maintain the school.
One pocket, do you have an event coming up very soon?
I believe there are schools, and I know that schools weekends that you're supposed to rest. It's either one form of party or the other. So in Lagos here.
And should you have lessons during the weekend, it will be a very good lesson. But I think the big picture here is what the government is looking at. The next user, GVox West, has this to say about that decision from Anambra State government, saying, I love it. I remember passing by a public school on Friday, and there were canopies at the school premises for a party in a learning environment.
Well, U_JTV says, thus it's good news for more of those kinds of policies. A school environment for children should be serene and safe for study and learning.
There you have it. So from partying in schools, well, at least this won't be happening in Anambra State. Let's talk about the judiciary, Jeffrey. And one issue that caused quite a debate back and forth on social media is the swearing in of acting CJN Kudirat Kekere Ekum, pending confirmation by the Senate. And then some say there will now be another swearing in or not. So it's been a bit confusing. Why swearing someone who's acting, who's yet to be screened or confirmed at least by the Senate? Will there be another oath of office? Some refer to what happened previously, saying, well, it's a norm. It's something that is now becoming a norm. Some don't understand it. But take a look at what this user says.
So for context, I think the Constitution answers that in Section 231, subsection 4 and 5. So the swearing in itself is the debate.
Right.
But that she can be appointed and act in that capacity. So I guess the debate is whether she should be sworn in acting capacity or she should be sworn in after confirmation by the Senate. But I think the Section 231 provides a bit of an answer. But that part of to be sworn in, the oath part, is what the lawyers will have to help us out on this one.
So we'll look to see if she'll be sworn in again.
I don't think so. I don't be sworn in twice.
I'll take a look at Olumide Phillips congratulating her, saying there's an urgent need to complete independence of the judiciary in this country. So while we can talk about swearing in or not, there is a real work to be done.
Exactly.
Which is, of course, ensuring the judiciary serves all Nigerians, rich or poor.
Okay, therapist underscores 007 said, congratulations to you, man. We trust you bring great deal of sanity back to our legal system. I understand that you cannot do everything, but even a small part will be greatly appreciated.
So lots of congratulations flowing in, but you know how these things are. The congratulations will come and then you have to hit the ground running. On a final note, Jeffrey, let's take this one about the oil and gas sector. And it's the Crude Oil Refiners Association of Nigeria urging the government to consider selling NNPC refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna.
That's literally selling our refineries.
Guess what? As a means, Jeffrey, to finance modular refineries. So you wondered, where's that coming from? Well, let's see what you have to say about this. First user, Son of Gold, says, we don't want them to sell it. Let them use the subsidy money to go fix one. Then when they start selling and making profits, they use it to fix the rest. So you can understand how Nigerians are approaching this. First, they don't even understand how the sector works. The sector has not been transparent enough for you to look at the numbers, to look at the output well enough and say, okay, this is what we can move around. So when Nigerians proffer solutions, hey, you can't blame them. The sector has not been transparent enough.
So at the end of the day, if you look at their books, the 3.3 trillion that they made in terms of net profit, but the revenue was 27 trillion. But if you look at their books, you now know that NNPC has a lot of challenge. There's something in economics called gearing ratio, more like liquidity ratio. Right. So those metrics for financial measurement as to how you funds you can free up at the end of the day to be able to carry out your developmental, whatever it is you want to do, whether it's through debt or equities. Clearly that the gearing ratio of the NNPC is not something we could applaud, which is why perhaps the government said that dividend you're supposed to pay us, you need to settle your cash flow issues. So those are the issues at the end of the day. It's a big, complex conversation when you look at it. But the good thing, this is the good thing, at least for one of the very first time, we're seeing by empirical numbers that NNPC really has issues. You know, we've been saying it, but if you look at those numbers, you now know that there's real issue because their pay, for instance, personnel costs looks over bloated, huge billions of naira for 5,000 something people, how much they earn, and if you break it down, there are so many other things that NNPC needs an explanation. That's why we need to talk to the CFO at the end of the day to come and explain some of the gray areas. But for those who understand numbers and how it works, we understand a few things that you may say, and NNPC is a going concern, but is a going concern with a bit of a question mark.
And not to forget shortfalls as well. Yes. But I mean, issues will always be there, but you have to fix those issues. So what is being done to fix those issues? Would like to know.
Exactly. So maybe we'll just take one person. Okay, they say we don't have any more time on this particular. So NNPCL, come forward, come and explain to us. Nigerians don't understand. So that's why they are explaining. And there are profiling solutions that you're looking at. Okay, what are they saying? Explain yourself. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will start the very first conversation for the day. That has to do with the issue of the students' loan. We'll break it down for you right here on the program. So join us again in just a moment.
Two words or terms that trended over the weekend is what we're starting with this morning. NELFUND, that's the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, and of course student loans. Well, add the Southeast to it as well. And there's been a lot of hue and cry on and off social media about the students' loan scheme, whether or not it covers adequately Nigeria's, what do you call it, regional reality or ethnic realities. Some say, well, there's no ethnicity to this. This is just straightforward. It's just students' loan being provided to people who apply for it. But some look at the numbers, they look at the list that has been released by NELFUND, and they say, well, we beg to differ. NELFUND has been speaking about this, but this government that instituted students' loan, NELFUND, and all of that, what does it have to say about this? Well, let's hear from the presidency this morning. We're joined by the Senior Special Assistant on Students' Engagement to the President, Sunday Ashafon. Well, comrade, at some point, you say you're still comrade.
Yes.
And honorable, you want to add that to it as well.
Honorable comrade.
Honorable comrade. Nigerians love their titles, don't they? But I'm sure you've been inundated with lots of calls, messages, requests. You are in charge of students' engagement, so this is on your table. You are meant to be responsible for engaging students, whether it's in the Southwest, Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, anywhere. You are meant to ensure that the government is linked to the students, particularly when it comes to students' loan. So when people look at that list and they don't see their universities, right, when some question, NELFUND has given some sort of response. But what exactly is responsible for that? We expect you know the issue. So why did people look at that list? They didn't see some of their schools. What happened exactly?
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here once again. My name is Honorable Sunday Adedayo Ashafon, the Senior Special Assistant to the President. I got this message from one of my friends, to be precisely from Ebonyi. That was the day before yesterday. He sent me a news from Sahara Reporter saying Southeast has been marginalized about this student loan. And immediately I told him, it's not true. Why I say it's not true is, when the president was presenting the first check to students and institutions, College of Education, and to be precise, Federal University Technology, FUTU, was called.
That's Owerri.
Owerri, to receive their check. And students from that university was also selected to receive a check, and which was presented by the president himself. And another College of Education from that Imon was also, and another school was also called from Enugu. But the point is that I have discovered so far so good about this loan. Majority of the students are yet to see reality in this loan. Some of the students still believe it's just a mere political statement.
Is that what's responsible for some of those schools, particularly in the Southeast? You think that that's why?
No. And let me also say this. As I speak to you, if all look at the numbers of and the traffic in that registration of the loan, the traffic increased on the 2nd of this month, just immediately when some students saw their friend posting that they have been receiving the 20,000 naira of keeping. The moment they saw that, after 24 hours, if you see the number of the students who are now applying for this loan, even a lot of our students from the Southwest, a lot of students from the North Central are not. It was then they started. And as I speak to you today, over 250,000 students the application has been received. Now, when an application is being received, the management of the NELFUND will need to send your data, which they will now request for your university or polytechnic or college of education, your management of your school, to confirm, one, your JAM registration number, second, your matric number, third, the course that you are studying in that school, fourth is how much is your school fee. In a university like UI, majority of the students in UI who apply for this loan are medical students. And you know what the medical students are paying is different to the unconventional courses.
Like you mean other courses?
Other courses, like business admin. Are you getting me? So they need to confirm, sending it to the management of the school. Some of the management of the school, as I speak to you, are not. Okay. They have not responded to give the information to the NELFUND. Okay. So it's difficult.
Okay, it's like you're saying two things in one breath. On one hand, you said that at the inception, some students from the Southeast, if I heard you correctly, were given. But we're speaking to the facts as presented by NELFUND on their handle, which captured the fact that 27,667, we're going to put up that slide as soon as we have it, students have so far received some form of support or the other, or a loan or the other. So that's it. And it came to about 2.9 billion naira.
Yes.
If you look at that list, no Southeastern university or institution has been there. So that's on one hand. Second, the fact that NELFUND responded and said, look, this is not about marginalization or anything. Verification process is what will guarantee money is being paid. We've not received anything from the Southeast. So that is what I would like you to speak to. Because you had started with, you were there, or you mentioned the fact that some persons received, but they didn't capture it here. That's what I'm saying. So maybe you need clarification on what you just said.
Thank you so much. Like I have said, you know, when the data, the information, the verification list is being sent to school, if the school did not confirm those data that have been sent to them by NELFUND, it is not possible for them, and it's one of the challenges that the NELFUND is facing now. For them to disburse, schools need to confirm those that have been sent to them to authenticate the studentship of the student who have applied. Like I have said, and I repeat, on that day, University of Ibadan Vice Chancellor was there. But his school, the Vice Chancellor, was not called to receive the check. The photo who was called was not there. I'm saying because I was there. But immediately, University of Ibadan confirmed that the data and the numbers of the students who have applied, and immediately they comply with the NELFUND. And it was then the University of Ibadan came out and said, so numbers of students that has been confirmed by NELFUND, and immediately NELFUND disbursed to University of Ibadan. And they now wrote officially to NELFUND that we have now confirmed so amount of money. So this is about the university system, the management of the school need.
Okay. Your point is quite clear. Now, let me bring it to you, who is, let's say, to the president on engagement. Because I'm looking at this list again, Gary. I'm looking at this list. I think I can't even see South. I stand to
University of Benin is there.
Okay, so, I'm looking at these lists. I'm not saying what you're saying. I'm looking
University of Benin is there.
Yeah, that's University of Benin, the fourth.
Okay. Oh, the fourth. Okay, the fourth. Okay, just one. So what I'm saying is that, are you not curious to find out why the Southeast, for instance, I don't know what is going on there. So as somebody in government, as somebody who is in charge of engagement, are you not curious to find out exactly why they are not responding, so that these students can also benefit from this loan? Because it's not a grant in the first place, so it's not like a grant that is one-off. It's a loan that they have to pay back. What are you hearing? What is the reason, besides the institution not doing what they should do? Is it that the students are applying and they are not doing their work, or just maybe whatever you found out?
Thank you so much. Like I have said, when I received the call from a friend from a boy, and I told him, immediately I forwarded the message to the MD and the CEO of NELFUND himself, and he told me that work is ongoing. We all know the management of NELFUND. Myself, I have said the implementation process of this loan, it is where I want to work and make sure I monitor the implementation process. And when I saw that list we are talking about, there are about 27,000 students. Their school fees is about that 2.9 billion. Then I saw, like you have noticed, that everybody have noticed, that people are, immediately I called. And they said, yes, a lot of schools over there has also applied. And they have sent their verification. They just want those schools to verify and confirm the studentship and the matric numbers and other relevant questions they had. Yeah. And once they confirm it, immediately they would start disbursing for them. But without confirming those things back to the NELFUND, it will not be easy for them to disburse. So he told me that, and I called out my friend. Immediately I sent it to him, and he gave me that information. I told him, I said, I can assure you, any moment from now, as I speak to you today is Monday now, that any moment from now, you will also be seeing, because the way they are disbursing, and that is why they are, trying to update their list. Are you getting me? I don't know, even maybe on Friday, on Thursday, Friday, probably there are some disbursement they have made. And once the university confirm, because before university will also come out, university need to come out and write again officially that we have confirmed so amount of money. If the NELFUND say, okay, we have disbursed so amount of money to your account of your school, based on the number of the students who have applied, and you have also verified, and we have received that, and we have paid. If they now said they have paid between, let's say, Thursday and Friday, and today is Monday, and the school needs to confirm that disbursement, that they have received that money in their account before they will now write, before they can
update the list. So two things to quickly clear up. So are you saying that some of those schools in the Southeast have now verified, they've responded and verified the list?
I'm sure. I can't just be mentioning a particular school now that social school has been, but I can assure you, between now and in the next few hours, I'm sure. It is not about because of they are saying some schools in South is not there, Southeast is not there, and they are now trying to rush. No, it's about process, because it's about, you must be, those information requested must be fulfilled.
I understand. And once so you say you are sure?
I'm assuring, yes. I'm assuring. Look at North Central. You only University of Jos and which other school?
It was something in Ilorin.
Okay, no, Ilorin again, that you can see there. So this thing is about process, and the more the school, like now, the students are now, so like University of Abuja, someone called me there that my son has been trying to apply for this, and I said, I now told the person, this is how this thing works. He was thinking in my office there's something that is an help I can. And I said, no, your son or your daughter will apply through the NELFUND portal. And once they have done that, now, irrespective of the number of the students from that particular university or college of education who have applied, now, once they have that list, NELFUND will now take the list and send to the school.
I understand. And we'll get to the process just to wind up. But I'm saying that, so you're confirming that those schools, either in the southeast or south, have now verified?
Yes, the loan is for entire.
No, I know.
Country.
I'm saying so they verified. So maybe they did that last week or towards the end of last week.
I'm sure.
They've done that already.
I'm
so we'll see their names on the list today.
Sure.
That's on the
more names, not only in the southeast, not only in the
south, and another parts of the country.
Not in the northeast or northwest. More lists will be coming up.
The second point I wanted to raise quickly is this. I think you were in the southeast 2 weeks ago.
Yes, I was in Benue 2 weeks ago, and I was in Makurdi discussing. It was a stakeholder dialogue,
right.
And issues of this loan was one of the major, because I was there to dissect the programs and the policy of the FG to Nigerian students and why they should tap from this opportunity. Because, like I have said, a lot of them felt it's not real, and we need to even raise their consciousness.
Awareness is very important. So, you've not been to the southeast then?
I have been to southeast.
When?
I was in southeast. That was last 2 months. I was in southeast.
Last 2 months. Yes. Which of the states did you go?
I was in Ebonyi.
Right. Just Ebonyi.
Yeah, I was in Ebonyi. I was in Enugu.
Enugu. Yes. So did you interacted with the students?
I did. I have the picture.
Good. And what did they tell you about this? Did they say that they are not aware and they're not tapping into it?
In short, thank God, I met with the Vice Chancellor of the Federal University in Ebonyi, and I also met with the Vice Chancellor of the State University in Ebonyi. And issues of this loan was also discussed. And I told them that any moment from now, the president will officially, unveil this loan. And once it's been unveiled, please do not hesitate to go to the portals and register. As at that time, it has not been officially unveiled. And from there, I moved to Enugu. And I've been in the south. I've been in Wari. I've been in Efuru to also discuss about this NELFUND. In June 11, I was in Wari discussing about this NELFUND and all other
programs,
students that relate student-related things about this government. So I have been moving from one place to another. So I've been in Katsina.
They told you they were keen to it.
Yes.
Okay.
There's another aspect I want to raise with you, which I think the government should or may consider, which people are raising when we read what they are saying. So I'm looking at the numbers here. University of Bayero University, Kano, 853 million naira. University of Maiduguri, 589 to about 5,000 students. So big monies. At least those are the big monies. I think the smallest here is Mubi that has about I think it's not Mubi.
It's now 1 million plus.
There's Abeokuta, one Abeokuta school as well.
No, Ilaro is around 8 million plus.
Okay, where I'm going to with that question is the fact that it's clear that the students in the north are really keying into all of this. But isn't the NELFUND managers, allow me to use that word, administrator, are you not concerned that you need to look for a bit of balance in terms of the traffic? So it doesn't look like if more people in a certain region, although it's a repayable loan, because that's some defense that I think NELFUND was putting up at some point, that this is as equitable as possible so that people don't see that or feel that certain people are prioritized over the other. We know that the process is as transparent as it can get. But for the sake of the plurality of our country, which raises this question, what is NELFUND doing about it? Because that is going to be the next question.
Thank you so much. Let me say this to you again, that NELFUND has been working with my office and with the glory of God. Just last month, I invited the SSA and SA to the governors of all the 36 states into Abuja for a meeting, and I also led that team to meet with NELFUND, and where NELFUND also told them challenges that they are facing about the data that I've mentioned so far, and giving them the mandate as an SSA to the governor of your state that please, these are issues that we are having in reaching out or getting this thing to the student, because in respect, students will sit on their own comfort home to register. If they registered, the only thing they will be seeing is pending, because their information has not been confirmed by their school back to the NELFUND. So it's difficult to get. And now NELFUND has been going from one place to another, which I have joined. As I speak to you now, after living there, you'll be seeing me in Abuja. And I have also said, I myself, between now and Thursday, you will also be seeing me in that southeast.
I'm saying
because I need to go there.
Sorry for cutting. I'm saying despite whatever, the process is clear.
Yeah.
If you go to NELFUND site or to Twitter or X, you see it. I'm saying, is NELFUND doing as much as it can to ensure that this spreads as wide as it can be, based on the plurality of our country? I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand. Now, let me say this. President is a president of all. NELFUND is not saying one region should apply, this region should not apply. Let me say it today. If it is the North that keep applying, they will be getting it. It is now left for us, my friends, my brothers, my sisters in the Southwest that I came from, and my friends and brothers from the South, South, and Southeast, my friend, my parents who are also from the Northeast are listening to us now. It is important now for us to tell our children, to tell our friends, let us go and do the needful. Now, if it is now your management, as an SUG president need to key in. If you are an SUG president to are representing your student in your campus, and you discover that your name of your school is not on that list, you need to go and meet your dean. Dean, why our school is not there? They will be able to tell you, and my office is open, my line is open. They should be able to tell me, the president wants every student, they want education to be accessible to all. And that is why it's open to everyone. We are not going to say because some people are applying in the North, now we now say North, stop. South. Because we have not seen any.
NELFUND has almost 100 billion now. If we had the EFCC money,
there is money.
And the 35
That's
billion.
what I want to tell you. Just all together now, like I have said, over 250,000 students have applied. Only just 27,000 plus has just been disbursed. So a lot is still there.
And there's a lot of money.
There's a lot of money. So why we can't just say because the North are the one applying now and North should stay. No, we are not going to say that.
Right.
We are urging every zone, the 6 political zone. It is now the duty of the leaders. Is that political leaders or religious leader? If there is need for them to say it in the church or in the mosque, go and register. Let me say this. I have looked at it and I always pray for the president. Why? Because to me, this is just another way round of free education. You go to school and you pay back after 2 years, you graduate. To me, it's a free education. The president wants everybody to have an access to a quality education.
Well,
without being stressed yourself.
They will pay for it eventually, or at least they will repay that loan. So it's not entirely bearing the payment. But of course, this is something that is welcome.
I think you should also take your campaign to the parts that are not up and doing, in your word.
Yeah.
It's only
session, but you said you'll be in the Southeast next week.
Yes.
So we look forward to that.
I think it's important so that they get
I will be in the Southeast next week. I can assure you. Before the week runs out, not even next
So we'll
week.
look forward to see updated list and also see the number of students applying across the regions. If we can't see the names for privacy sakes, at least let's see the figures. So we know that, okay, these are the people that applied, and we can also verify from the institutions. But I think we'll anchor at this point. Clearly, there's still more to uncover with NELFUND and the students. But we'd like to thank you so much, Senior Special Assistant on Students Engagement to the President. Is that Honorable Comrade?
Honorable Comrade.
Which comes first? Comrade, Honorable Comrade?
Honorable Comrade, you know.
Is that Chief?
I'm not a chief. I'm the former president of NAS. I'm from that background, and I can't live there.
If you say you're Honorable Comrade, that means you have left the trenches. If you're in the trenches, you're supposed to be Comrade Honorable.
I'm not.
You're still in the trenches.
I'm still in the trenches.
Thank you very much, Sunday Ashe, for clearly Nigerians love their titles. I wish you the very best. We'll still come back to you from time to time to get more updates.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll try to bring together all of the issues that seem to be dividing us as a country across the board. And we'll take Lagos as the starting point. In the aftermath of that election, what are the emotions like and how do we move forward with all of those emotions to ensure Nigeria is better for it? That's in a moment. Stay with us.
It's been a challenge since amalgamation in 1904 and even 1960s independence for Nigeria to attain what is called nationhood. We're still divided along those fault lines of ethnic nationalities, tribalism, and even religion. And each election cycle kind of, accentuates that particular fault line. And time and again, we still go back to that table trying to find a way forward. Is there really a way forward? That's a question we want to answer today. We'll talk about national unity and national cohesion. That's why we're being joined by the head of Secretariat of the National Peace Committee and the Executive Director of the Kuka Center, Father Atta Barkindo. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Father Barkindo, thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. If you can hear me.
Jeffrey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We understand that in a bid to, harmonize all of the interests and the variables around those interests, the Kuka Center came to Lagos, and you know what happened in Lagos during that election. We will highlight some of them as we go on, but maybe give us a feeler of sitting there and watching all interests airing their view, what you made out of that conversation.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me this morning. When we went to Lagos, I was quite surprised how emotional really the issues were. It was something like Nigeria before 1960 and the independence, and then our elders and our forefathers discussing how Nigeria will become independent. People were really very emotional. For example, defining even who is a Lagosian. One of the elders stood up and told us that very clearly in no uncertain terms, Lagos belongs to the Yoruba people and nobody should make mistake about that. And for us, we don't want to go into those sorts of contestations. I think what we are looking at is creating the platforms across this country for Nigerians to have the opportunity to begin to discuss about the kind of country we want to have now and in the future. Because I think emotions are still very high. People have really withdrawn into the wombs of their ethnic groups and their tribes. People have become more sentimental about the past, about the kind of communities they want to have. People have really had primordial attachments to their histories, to their ethnicities, and where we come from. And I think because decade after decade, we haven't given Nigerians from the local communities, even up to the urban centers, the opportunities to sit and to have conversations about some of the most difficult questions and some of the most difficult issues that Nigeria should sit and talk about. And I think one of them is the kind of country really that we want to have. So for us, looking at what happened in Lagos during the 2023 general elections, the kind of ethnic profiling, the kind of ethnic targeting, the suppression of votes, the denial of people to vote because they don't come from one place or the other, we were very concerned. Could this issue only be in Lagos? Could it be widespread across the country? And how can we begin to sit and have those conversations? And we are grateful to MacArthur for the technical support that they offered. And so the Kuka Center went down to Lagos. We had series of conversations that culminated in what we call the Youth Forum. Because we targeted the young people. They are the future of this country. In fact, they are the present of this country. And they are also the future. So that is what we have found. So for me, one of the highlights is how emotional the issues are, and how primordial people are, and how attached people have become, not to the nation, not to the concept of what it means to be a Nigerian, but really to our own different ethnicities. And I don't think that is the way for Nigeria to go forward. So we are open to having these conversations, not only in Lagos. And our hope is to escalate this really to the different states across the country, and probably end up with a very big national conference where we bring critical key stakeholders to the table to really see how we can consolidate, our national identity and our common citizenship, and perhaps suggest to the government some of the most, critical strategic steps to be taken, to really consolidate what it means to be a Nigerian citizen.
Father Barkindo, this it can be a tough conversation. It can be a very tough one to get into. But, we shouldn't shy away from these conversations. It's important to have them. Sit down. Yes, we may frown, we may be emotional, we may be animated, but the goal is to bear our minds and, as you said, build a nation that we want. We've always said unity in diversity, and that particular line recognizes two things. Diversity, the fact that people have their ethnic differences, cultural differences, or at least beliefs, I should say, religious beliefs and the rest, that they hold dear. In some, they've held it for centuries, and they don't want to lose it. They don't want anybody to disrespect that. There's also the big picture, which is the unity angle, that we all need to come together for the good of our nation. So how, and I know that this is still an ongoing conversation, but from what you heard, what are some of the things or at least the approach you might be suggesting to having this conversation, such that we're protecting the diversity and we're also protecting the nation at the same time, if that's possible?
This is really a very good question. First of all, our approach is we are not asking anybody to forget the fact that they are Yoruba or they are Hausa or they are Chamba or they come from this tribe. Nobody is asking you. The question is, if you are an Igbo person or a Yoruba person, a Hausa person or a Chamba person, or you are from Angas tribe, for example, in Plateau State, what are you bringing to the table from your own tribe, from your own angle, to help build this country? And you remember, Kaide, when we were in Lagos, you made a very beautiful analogy. And this is one of the things I took away about the Nigerian basketball team that actually faced the United States basketball team. We were losing. And the coach told them something that really changed the mentality of the girls. She told them, don't fight each other. Because you seem to be blaming each other when you're playing basketball. Don't fight each other. Your enemy is the other side. So come together and fight the enemy. So I think at the moment, the problem is that there is no response of the Nigerian government to the social economic conditions of people in a way and manner that we have expected. So what has eventually therefore happened is that people have simply withdrawn. And it is because to have access to privileges, to opportunities, to jobs, to move up the social ladder, what has happened is that people have to deploy their ethnic identities. And when we keep doing that, we now sacrifice competence and capacity and ability to a point that people who are competent to help us develop this country will not have the opportunity to do so. And that is why you look at European countries. What are they doing? They call it the brain drain. They are taking away the most competent people, from doctors to lecturers to historians, over to their countries, because we haven't allowed these people the opportunities to contribute because of issues of ethnicity. So our approach, our methodology, we are not asking you to forget who you are. We are not asking you to forget where you come from. We are not asking you to forget your tribe, because there is also a lot of advantage in terms of diversity. But what we are asking is that in this country, we should try to promote meritocracy and competence. When somebody is competent to contribute to the development of this country, please don't deny them because they don't belong to this tribe, they don't belong to this region, they don't come from this religion. Those little ethnic identities, religious identities sometimes can pull us back. So we can privatize our identities, use those identities to completely contribute to the nation. And I know it's a very difficult conversation to have, but in my opinion, if we enshrine ending the culture of impunity and making people to be accountable for their actions, irrespective of who they are or where they come from, and the government lives up to its own social contract, I think we can begin to take those little steps. And the second approach really is to speak to young people across this country. If you ask who are young people, how do you define young people? It's not necessarily by age. It's by the context that they exist. Because their understanding of Nigeria, someone who lives in Zamfara State, a young man that lives in Zamfara State, understands Nigeria completely different from a young man that lives in Lagos. Because it's about what the country can give me, and it's on the basis of what I can get from Nigeria that I'm able to define Nigeria. It's not necessarily about what I can give to Nigeria, and that is the problem. So our second approach is to understand how people themselves understand this country. What kind of country do they want to have? Then we now begin to offer some of those interventions. But then the biggest and the most important really is to, first of all, create that platform for people to begin to have the most difficult conversations.
Father, let's talk about a few things, because there cannot be healing without brutal honesty, honesty at the end of the day. So you help us as much as possible to begin to point some of the conversations we must start having and the latitude of those conversations, because I've been at the forum where when these things were raised, some people said we cannot be defined by those moments. But as you've witnessed, over a year after that, people are still angry that they are citizens and they are being denied the rights to carry out their civic responsibility. So if we stay on the word brutal honesty, what should we be saying? Because that is a precursor to having any form of meaningful, long-lasting, sustainable healing.
Nigeria is like different countries pretending, to be one country, to be honest. If you go to Europe, for example, there are Nigerians who are members of parliament in the UK. There are elected mayors in the US. Some of them are in the parliament, in Poland. So why can't we begin to give people the opportunity based on competence? And I understand why Bishop Kuka says that Nigerians have earned the right to be cynical. They just don't seem to trust anything. Government agencies, government institutions, everybody has simply become cynical. So to answer to your question is, for me, we must enshrine the culture of accountability. So we have had series of committees of inquiries, the Oputa panel, kinds of all sorts of policies, But at the end of the day, it's about implementation. It's about accountability. And that is what we call accumulated and unresolved issues of conflict that have happened in the past. You hear that 50 people have been killed, the country moves forward as if nothing has happened. 30 people have been killed, the country moves forward, nothing has happened. Somebody has been kidnapped, the person has been killed, we laugh, we drink beer, we joke, we move forward, we go ahead. And until we begin to take really human lives very seriously. And that's why Nigerian citizens have become a bit of cynical even about their own country. Sometimes it's shocking how we speak so negatively about our own country. And it is simply because our conditions are not being responded to by those who are in charge, by those who have the power, who have the offices, and who have the authority. And so for me, to answer your question, if we really want Nigerians to begin to take these things very, very seriously, it is important that people are held accountable for their actions. For goodness sake, I don't know how we are going to continue as a country. People are killed literally on a daily basis. Every community seems to have one conflict or the other, and they don't even know where to turn to. And that's why communities have come up with their own vigilante groups, with their own independent security outfit, because they need to defend themselves. They have to be alive. So these things must be attended to by those who are constitutionally empowered to do so. And I think that is the only way to begin to attend to those some of the tiny issues that you are talking about. From the 60s and up to 2024, there are so many conflicts that have remained really unresolved. And I think that I will advise the government to take some of these things, very, very seriously. Nigerians are angry, everybody is angry. As someone will say, even armed robbers are very angry right now in the country. And I think these are the issues that we must attend to.
Absolutely. And, we always say fault lines, fault lines. For me, I don't think they should be fault lines or called fault lines, because a fault line is an issue that has a tendency, a divisive issue, has a tendency to have severe consequences. But the fact that I belong to a certain ethnic group and you belong to another, should not be, it's no fault of ours to begin with. We're not faulty. We're basically just expressing who we are. And that should be flavors. So I've called them false lines. Instead of fault lines, they are false lines and should be flavors. We just talked about the NELFUND, how Southeast, for example, say, we're not a part of it. And government says, well, no, this is what's happening. And because there's a lot of mistrust in the system, a lot of people still do not believe. But let's talk to young people, Father, because the young people play a critical role in this nation right now, make up a huge chunk of the population. If something bad will happen, they'll most likely be the foot soldiers. If something good will happen, they will most definitely be the foot soldiers and even the leaders as well. So when you also see young people speak about these issues, how would you have them approach this? What kind of mentality would you have them at least have to approach this conversation, such that they don't inherit the anger, the stereotypes and all of that the previous generation had and didn't take us anywhere?
You're absolutely right. And as somebody mentioned in Lagos, the future, people say the future belongs to young people. In fact, he said the present, currently the present belongs to young people. My only problem is that there is no unity of purpose. There is no unity of interest. And the way different young people across this country see this country, they have different ideas and different visions, and you cannot blame them, because the way history is told, people are getting access to those histories in different ways and different contexts. So the problem is that if you look at NSAS, for example, it was purely, most of the protests happened in the South. At that time, during NSAS, I was in Gombe. When you met young people in the North, they will tell you, this one is not their problem. The police is just responding to the problem of Yahoo boys, in southern part of Nigeria. And then when the recent protests happened, you can see most of the protests simply came from the northern part. There was no serious response from. So that unity of purpose, particularly among young people. So for me, one of the most important conversations Nigerian youths and Nigerian young people must have is how they collectively understand this country, how they define and design a collective strategy to respond, which may also be perhaps a very difficult thing to do. Otherwise, you will continue to have these pockets of responses amongst young people, and we are likely to have united, purpose, shared values, shared interests that will motivate and generate us developing a common strategy as young people in order to address some of the most important national issues that we have. So I don't define young people in terms of age. I define young people in terms of how they understand this country. What exactly do they want to do with, for, and about Nigeria? And if they really come together, and I think they can achieve a lot. At the moment, they are ideologically divided, religiously divided, ethnically divided, and the same division that the elders, the same division that tribes and religious groups suffer. Literally every group has its own young people that share in the same ideology. So it's how the young people can unchain themselves from some of these ethnic and religious ideologies that hold them down and come together as a group of young people to see what they can contribute to this country. And my final point here is that at the end of the day, nobody remains young forever. If you are young, it's possible in the next 5-7 years. Your youthfulness is gone. You live the rest of your life as an adult. So even being young is really a very temporary period. And therefore, young people must make use of that period to see what they can contribute. That delusion that you are going to live as a young person forever is really not going to be there. But I think that if they are able to use that little period to help fix this country, then they can now enjoy, their adulthood. Because they are going to live almost 3-4 decades down the line as an adult. So when they do well, making use of that period, then they can enjoy their adulthood.
Father, it will really be great to see us attain nationhood, but I'm afraid I'm worried about living in false bubble, which is why we need to have this brutal conversation. And you've put a lot of responsibility on young people. So I'm wondering, is it a who or what should be the rallying point for this particular one? Because one of the things that I'm missing in this dispensation is role models. They are wanting in the political class across board. Sometimes even the religious leaders themselves are not at par, not living up to expectations. So if you're looking for a rallying point, is it a what or who should they be looking at?
That's a difficult question for me to answer. Maybe they should look at Jesus as a Catholic priest, in the Bible, who should lead the way. Jesus was just in his 30s when he started the movement that turned out to be one of the strongest movements in terms of Christianity. So I think my suggestion is for them to look at Jesus really as the model. But to be very honest with you, it's a very difficult question for me to answer. But I think that there are good people in Nigeria. There are people who are really committed to the cause of this country. There are people who are speaking out, who want to make Nigeria look better. So young people have different, sources of inspiration they can get. They can read good books. They can watch really very good documentaries of past leaders like Nelson Mandela. And even though he has his own arguments when it comes to South Africa and how people perceive him and how people see him. But I think that for me, the biggest source of mentorship for young people is a sort of interest that they have to see that the kind of country they want to see is really it turns out to be a very good country. Because in 10, 20 years' time, they are also going to have children. They may become parents and grandparents. And so when they think of their future, they think of the future of their own children. I think that should be a big source of inspiration. Right. But I think we have good leaders in Nigeria who have made substantial contributions to the stability of this country, to the future of this country, that can inspire a lot of young people.
We just need to ensure that we replicate those people in X's, 10, 100X. On a final note, Father, in 30 seconds, the elections coming yet again, and of course, a tendency to cause more division, Edo, Ondo. I know the National Peace Committee does the signing of the peace accord from time to time. Are you concerned about these elections? Would we have a signing of any peace accord I know 30 seconds might be a little time, but let's see what we can do, Father.
Yes, we are very concerned, really, about the elections in both Edo and Ondo states. So, and the Peace Committee has accepted they will be in Edo State, hopefully on the 12th, for the signing of the peace accord. We are already engaging with different stakeholders in Edo State. In 2019, it was very tense. And even at the moment, with inter-party issues, with the kind of kidnappings going on, the kind of non-electoral violence, gang culture, and the killings that are ongoing, we are very, very concerned, about Edo State and even Ondo State. So the Peace Committee will make its own moral interventions, moral persuasions. It doesn't have the constitutional power to really do anything, but it will engage the critical stakeholders. And our own hope is to mitigate and reduce violence to the barest minimum. And that's why we are talking with different groups, including the political parties. So yes, the Peace Committee will be in Edo, hopefully on the 12th of September. Just a few days, 9 days to the elections.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend Father Atabarikindo, Executive Director of the Kuka Center and Head of Secretariat of the National Peace Committee. Thank you so much for your intervention, and we wish you the very best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kayode. Thank you, Jeffrey, for having me. Thank you.
Well, we'll switch gears after the break to bring you the softer side of things. Sid will be here to speak to us. You want to find out who? Stay around.
Of course, you've seen his videos online across the board. A lot of them making you laugh, just helping you forget about the tough things of life. So this morning we thought, how about we take him from social media and drop him right here in our studio. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Sidney Sid Undu, an entertainer and actor. You have about 1 million followers on Instagram and on other social media platforms. Sid, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Just watching your video, that one, about the, there's a mental pregnancy. Okay. Right? So maybe there was a mental pregnancy that didn't manifest physically, which is why she supported it with the with the round ball. But let me just piggyback off that, because we see you churning out creative ideas from time to time. And I was asking you that, are you a morning person? And you said that morning is like your most productive day. So walk us through your productive process. How do you people churn out content upon content as though you have a bank or a vault where you just pick from and just do it? How does that work?
I won't even lie to you. I feel like whatever field you're in, you need to study about it.
Right.
So I kind of draw inspiration from different people, both international and here in Nigeria. So I see so many things online, so I just put my own things together and just put out something out there. And I like being consistent, that's why.
Consistency is key, so you keep people expecting, right? So I want to, because we want to see if we can replicate someone like Sid in other Nigerians, because it's good. You're doing well.
Thank you.
You're making money, so there's employment. Said amen. I like that. You're also creating employment for people. Of course, you're making people happy and the rest, but that's a good economy. So we're trying to replicate that across board. So what are the skills that are vital for a content creator? You're an actor, you're a filmmaker as well. So walk us through the skills that you have that help you to do this thing well and stay consistent.
Okay. One of the most important skills that I think anybody should have in whatever field you're in, let's not just be in content, is your character. Your character is very important.
Oh, you see character as a skill?
Yeah.
I like that. That's interesting.
Trust me. Because once you have a good character, people will try to, and people will work with you more. There's an extent you can get to. If your character is bad, you will not really pass that level you're in. But if you have a good character, you're humble, you're nice to people, you show them love, you understand, I think you'll go far.
I love that. So apparently character is a skill now.
Trust me.
People need to have.
Yes.
So I want to now talk about the hard skills. Like, so, in terms of shooting, can you shoot? Can you edit?
Yeah.
Do you write scripts? So walk us through all those other hard skills now.
Okay, when it comes to shooting and editing and all those ones and writing of scripts, I used to shoot my own video. Sometimes I still do, because doing all those things every time, you just get tired of it. So I have somebody that does that for me. So I do more of the ideas. The shooting and the editing is done by someone else.
So I'm looking at your social media and your Instagram, for instance. 1 million followers, and you're not. Do they verify on Instagram as well?
Yeah, they verify on all platforms.
Okay, so sorry, it's better with social media than I am.
I understand.
But it looks like you're not verified, right?
Yeah, because I've not applied.
Oh yeah, okay.
It looks like
a million. Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering because this is a massive number at the end of the day. So let's get back to a few things. One of which is, some people have a story on how they ended up being content creators. This was not the path they wanted, but they became accidental content creators. Some said it was deliberate. Some said the money is good. I remember they were interviewing Ashake, and he said, "Look, it's for the money, man. Nothing else. He's a dancer, and then he's a musician, so he chose music over dancing and all of that." So, what is your own story? How did you get here?
Okay, let me be very, very honest with you guys. I feel like everybody that wants to start something always think about the money first. Like, how can I make money from this thing? So, at a point, because let me not even lie to you, I started doing this because I saw people making money from it. And I felt like, wait, so I can make people laugh and I'll just make money from it. I don't even have to work or do anything. Okay, let me try it and see how it works. Because it's not easy to just do something and you don't even know how you're going to make money from it, and at the end of the day, by God's grace, if you keep doing it, you start making money from it. So my own point was just trying as much as possible to do what I love. At first, I didn't love it. I was doing it because of the money. But when I did the first one, people loved it. I was like, okay, wait, I think I can actually do this thing. I didn't even care about the money. After the first 2 or 3 times I did it, I didn't see any results. I was like, wait, at least I know I can actually do something that people actually like. So I was not thinking about the money anymore. I was just doing it to make people happy. Then with time, I just got my first, I think somebody hit me up. Can you help me promote my song? I was like, okay, can I pay 20,000? I said, yeah, 20,000. Oh yeah, don't worry, just send. That's how I did my first promotion. That was like 2020, yeah.
Cool, COVID year.
Yes.
So your first earning was 20,000 naira.
20,000 from a music promotion.
Do you still collect 20,000 naira in Sydney?
Now?
Yes, now.
No.
For the streets now, for charity.
I would rather, if the money is not good and it's my friend, I would rather do it for free.
Right.
So staying with the money, for instance, so you make money off social media, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you how much you earn now. 20,000 was the one somebody saw you and said, I know you have a platform, just help me now. Let's run it. Let's forget that one. That's one part of the income.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the one that trickles in, whether through your monetization. Which was the very first you had? I'm like, okay, this is a good motivation to keep at what I love to do. I'm not saying how much now. I'm talking about your first semi-big box, if you will.
I won't lie to you. When I stopped doing it for the money, I didn't even care about the money anymore, to be very, very, very honest with you. Because then when I post my content, I was even more focused on Instagram. When I post my content, someone like Tunde Not, thanks to him, big shout out to Tunde Not, he used to post my content. So that alone, seeing people happy that I'm posting content, I was not really thinking about the money. I was just happy for the fact that I'm making people happy. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So when the money comes, okay, good and fine, I'll still put it on my content.
So what was the money that came that's where we're going? I will not leave you with the money issue.
You don't have to mention.
No. I mean your first, I'm not talking about how much you earn now. The money that kind of, this is not bad.
That made me to, I don't even lie to you. There's no amount of money that I feel like I will get that will make me to even stop, or because I stopped doing it for the money when I started. I don't know if you understand. At the point I stopped doing it for the money. So no amount of money could ginger me to say, okay, I just need what I wanted to do till I leave this world.
Right.
Whether money comes in or not.
Interesting. So 1 million on Instagram, 3.6 on Facebook.
Yes.
2.6 million.
2.6 on TikTok.
2.8.
2.8. Sorry, I removed on here. That's a lot. So 2.8 on TikTok. That's if you crunch that together, and that's not to talk of the other WhatsApp, people sending on WhatsApp, YouTube.
I'm like 740 something, almost 1 million.
So you literally have a nation. You know, there are some countries, if you put their population together, you don't have up to the followers that you have on those platforms. So you're sort of like a leader of thought. So before we come to the next question, I'd like us to watch something else that you've done. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see it. Then we'll come back to talk to this president of how many million people now in a moment. So let's watch this.
Just let me get my shoes and my face.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
I'll be with you shortly.
Can't you watch where you're going to? Rubbish. Hello? Bro, I don't tell you, say me and my baby, they come that club this night. You know, say Imoni and Kubana, they go there. From there, I go leave and go meet for Lake for our side. Oh, yeah, no, well, I just arrange the place.
Sorry, babe. So, like, when are we? Sir.
I want to see you, Remeji. Babe, what happened? Who is it? Jesus.
You can only imagine what happened. Did you go see Falake after that, though? At least if you lose one, you win one.
No, sir.
You didn't, right? No. So what are your themes? We'll come back to your follower count, but, you know, there's a general theme that I think I've noticed in your content. So what are those themes that you try to accentuate? And is there always a message behind your content that you say, okay, I'm doing this to make people laugh, but I want to leave them with a message?
Okay, yeah. I feel like if you're creating something as a content creator, one of your goals should be passing out a message or solving a problem. I don't know if you understand, because when you put out something, people expect to learn something from it or get inspired by what you post. So whenever I put out a content, what I always have in my mind is either I'm making them laugh just for cruise, or I'm actually passing out a message. It could be a message of not looking down on anybody,
as in that video.
Yeah. And it could be message of try and hustle. I don't know if you understand. Try and make money. If not, they go. So I always try to put out something that will encourage people to actually like work hard and also
not cheat.
Yeah.
So there has been some kind of we had the guy from the census board or so. I've forgotten his name now. The social media it has its good and bad side. And a lot of people have said, look, it has created a lot of opportunity, and we can see that. Just imagine there was a time I guess you may be a Gen Z, but there was a time the entire Nigeria as a country, we had only 70,000 lines, the entire country. So imagine what that blocked in terms of opportunity, but look at what we have now. So streams of opportunities across board, we call it democratization of opportunity. But now, with that comes its own challenges, and people are calling for some level of regulation and all of that. I'm wondering, does that bother the content makers? Is this something you would like to welcome, or you just leave us to do our thing?
To me, I just feel like, because I feel like no matter how things get hard or difficult or whatsoever, I believe when you walk, is in the Bible, when you walk, I don't care what's happening around, when you walk, you eat. I don't know if you understand. When you walk, you eat. And I believe difficulty strengthens the mind, while labor strengthens the body. So when there are challenges like that, it's always good for challenges to be there so that you can be able to strengthen your mind and solve problems. If everything is just normal and simple and is not fun, I don't know if you understand. So there needs to be difficulty and challenges for you to.
So you don't mind being regulated? Is that what you're saying?
All I'm saying is, whatever comes, I'm ready for it. Because my Bible has made me understand that as long as you're working, you will eat.
I see you're big on your faith, even in your bio. You want to tell us about that?
I don't know. I just believe everything is coming from God. And I don't have the power to do what I'm doing if not for him. I don't know if you understand there, so I don't really have that much strength.
Well, it's good to have a support system, really. Yeah. You can only do as much alone. So speak to us about family. Wife, kids.
Okay, I don't have wife or kid, but I have siblings I'm taking care of. I'm the first son. Yeah. My dad is in Lagos. My mom is in Port Harcourt. I have 2 younger brothers and 2 elder sisters. Yeah.
Beautiful. So a lot of this, the money you make, you put it into family, and I'm sure that family supports you as well.
A lot of the money I make, I don't put everything into family.
That was a set-up question.
I don't put everything into family because the thing that people do that I feel like is not so good when they're coming up is every money they make, they put it inside family. They don't try to build themselves. I don't know if you understand. Yeah. If you're trying to put everything you have into family, you'll not be able to build yourself. So I feel like you need to build, as you're supporting your family, but not that much. You need to build yourself to an extent that you can support them well the way you want to. I don't know if you understand.
That's brilliant. Yeah. So basically, find a balance. Invest in yourself as you're also doing that.
Yes, so you have to be okay before you can.
Okay, fantastic. Lots of nuggets are coming from Sidless Word and Jeffrey. We had a conversation before you came on about young people, the kind of Nigeria they want. Yeah. You said that you like difficulties, strengthens the mind.
I feel like, but that's the truth.
No, it's good. It's a good world.
It's not like I like it. It's just what it is, and it's what
it's a reality you kick in. Exactly. So. The Nigeria we want. Yes, you have, and I was joking that you're like a leader to millions of people. So if you
He's actually a
leader really to millions of people, a nation at least. Because if we crunch your numbers together, you're nearing maybe 10 million or 8 million or thereabouts.
Yes.
And that's
bigger than a lot of states.
Bigger than some nations at this point. So if you were to harness all of that, all of what you've learned, all of the, influence you have, what kind of Nigeria do you want as a young person? And I'm sure you followed the conversation we've had from the beginning, the ethnic issues, the political, religious issues. What kind of Nigeria do you want as a young creative, and how can we get that Nigeria?
This is a very tough question, but it still boils down to... You
like tough things, so go ahead.
I won't lie to you, it still boils down to the people. I don't know if you understand, because people will be like, hey, why is the government, why can't they do this one for us? Why can't they do that one for us? But at the end of the day, the question is, the people, what are you doing for yourself? I don't know if you understand. What are you doing for yourself? Because Nigerians are so entitled. I feel like they have this blood of entitlement that if you do something for them, they believe that you're supposed to. Like it's your right for you to do that thing for them. I don't know if you understand. So
that's as individuals, not as government. Yes,
as individuals. Yeah. So I feel like the question is, what can we do for ourselves? I feel like if everybody is able to show love to one another and do the right thing, the country will be a better place.
All right, so I'm going to come to your collaboration, because I see lots of you. The way skit makers collaborate, and I don't know, it's like a lot of you are always, when you want to do something, the way you rally yourself. So before we talk about rallying for projects, let's talk about rallying for a cause. So for instance, as journalists, we have associations and we talk about freedom of the press, our responsibility as journalists to citizens, as well as our responsibility to hold the powerful to account. What do you guys talk about?
First, do you have an association of Nigerian?
That's why I use the word collaboration. Not necessarily like you have, you may not have, but you have friends who do what you do. But something must pop for you to, besides social talk.
Okay, the truth is, I have friends, but like they are very few. I don't really have a lot of friends that I talk to. Most of the times, even if I talk to them, it's maybe based on one job that they want to give us, one advert or one idea, or how do you see this content? We're always sharing ideas. I don't know if you understand. Most of the time, we're always sharing ideas. And aside from that, I don't really involve in plenty talk, because I feel like when you have so many friends, gossip will enter. I don't know if you understand, and gossip is actually very sweet.
You know, because the reason I asked that question, because your space is a very powerful space, and your voices are quite loud.
Yeah.
Content creators.
True.
You're big now, such that you're considered celebrities. So that stature is not to be taken for granted. So you are influencers at the end of the day, which is why we are trying to probe to find out what you talk about besides projects and work.
I won't lie to you, I'm the wrong person to ask that question because I don't really have, for most of the time, I'm just focused on my work. Thinking of ideas, thinking of ideas takes up your time. I don't know if you understand, it takes up your time. So I don't even have time to even call. Don't worry.
You feel free to apologize to people you've not called back on air.
But I'm sorry that I've not called any of you. I'm sorry. But I hardly call people because of the thing
Do they now consider you to be, maybe you snub people?
Sometimes. But whenever I call, I'll be like, I'm sorry, I've not been calling you. Now this thing is this thing that have been holding me, but I feel like some of them understand. Yeah.
So there's also this perception. Now that perception comes to especially female actresses, or actresses I should say, or female actors, and some people that are content creators. People just feel like, do they really make this kind of money that we're now seeing? Oh, they bought a house, they bought a big car.
Actually,
is that you bother? Do you guys make that kind of money? Or there's other kind of things?
They do.
He said they do. Trust me. Did you hear what he said? He said they do. No, we do.
They do. I don't.
Why
they do? I don't like topic based on money. I don't like involving myself. It's not like I'm not okay, but I'm just making you understand that people actually make money off these platforms. YouTube, Facebook, probably TikTok, and so on. It's just your ideas. Once your ideas are actually very good, you can be dropping content. Just one idea will and that's it.
And they make money.
Just one.
Well,
but you refuse to tell us about this, your money.
He doesn't like to talk about money.
So that we can tell the people how much your net worth is. But I guess we don't have so much time. It's just fun.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to speak to these issues. For a lot of people, they see the spendings of content creators, their lifestyle, and they wonder, is this just content or there's something else with it? Is this maybe a process of cyber fraud or what have you? There's been that challenge.
Okay. Now, why I don't like talking about money is because I don't want to give these people this impression that I need to do this thing to make money. You're going to make money from it. You can make money to buy a house, buy a car. But I feel like their goal should be serving people. I don't know if you understand. Like, you guys are serving people. You guys are doing a great job. I won't even lie. So I want people to have this mindset of just trying to render service first. Don't think about the money, and the money will come. I don't know if you understand.
I mean, that's a great mindset. Most times, if you don't do it for the money comes in there. You have to have a structure to ensure that you separate the business from the art. And it looks like you're doing that well. Sid Iwundu, entertainer, actor, looking forward to all of your work. You wanted to make a point?
Yes, back to your question. I didn't answer your question.
You didn't, exactly.
Yes, so for the business and the fraud, I don't know people that do fraud, but I feel like if you're in this space, you need to have like a side business that you can have aside that's going to be making money for you, so that you can support the one you're doing. I don't know if you understand, because if you're too focused on this one, you might not have the time.
Right.
And time is money. So you need to have something aside that can be making money for you to support the one you're doing.
And not cyber fraud.
Please, not cyber fraud.
Thank you very much. Sid Iwundu, entertainer, actor. It's been an amazing conversation with you, and we look forward to your work.
Thank you.
And how you lead your nation.
Thank you.
8 million people. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
All right, so just before we wrap up the show, we can tell you that the Nigeria Association of Resident Doctors have declared a 7-day warning strike across all its centers nationwide. The resident doctors' strike is to clamor for the release of his kidnapped member, Dr. Ganiat Pupula, who has been in captivity for over 8 months. So doctors have been some sort of a target. Some people argue that as well, but they've been part of those that have been kidnapped. I think they said they've had enough, and they're giving this warning strike 7 days. So that's the latest coming in from the health sector. But hey, that's how much we can take on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
Well, it's good to see that the 20 medical students and others abducted in Benue State have been released. So we hope that the police and other security agencies can replicate this for others still in captivity. I'm Karadoki Kilu. Sunrise Daily is next. Make sure you have a productive day. Goodbye.